Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Welcome everyone to 2016 and season 10 of Hello Bonjour Alberta. I'm Anne Boiteau.
And I'm Marc Lalonde.
And today, if you've noticed, we do have a new theme song on our site for the episodes, and we are welcoming the group who has come up with this theme song.
A couple of the musicians that did that. Welcome.
Yeah, the Bow Djangos are with us tonight. Two of the members, Cédric Blary, who plays the clarinet, and Tristan Euzen, who plays the guitar and is also the singer of the group. Yes. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So as we start with everyone, we'd like to know a little bit about your background, where you're from. If you're not from Calgary, we'd like to know where you were born and raised and what brought you here. So maybe we'll start with you, Tristan.
So I'm from France. I've been in Calgary for 8 years. And I've been living in France all my life before that. I'm from Brittany. And what brought me here is my job. I'm a geologist.
Ah, okay. So straight from Brittany to
no,
Calgary?
I was I've been living in Paris with my family for 10 years before coming here.
10 years before that. So were you recruited to come here, or did you decide to look for something?
Well, I was traveling a lot with my job because I was doing field geology. And one day my wife told me, okay, you travel a lot, but we would like to travel as well. So we started looking around for a position, somewhere else, and there was an opportunity in Calgary.
And did you speak English before you came to Calgary?
Well, not that well.
Because you speak really well for somebody.
I spoke English before I went to conference and I had meeting in English. But everyday English, very badly, actually.
Okay, and what about your wife? She came along with you and all the way to Calgary?
Yes, and my daughters. Actually, one of my daughter was turning 18, and she decided she didn't want to come, so she stayed there. Now she's 27, and she's doing very well. But my two other daughters and my wife came along.
Followed you here? Yes. Oh, that's good. And what about you, Cédric?
Well, I was born and raised here in Calgary, and
one of a few.
I guess so. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so I've never really left. Just started, got into music and got into the scene, and still enjoy it to this day.
So, are you a full-time musician?
Yeah. I either play or teach or sing or do something musically related.
Most musicians do that. They have
Yes.
several roles. They do some teaching in a formal setting and perhaps on a one-to-one setting too,
Yeah,
and sort
absolutely.
of thing. Yeah. And then how many different groups do you play with?
Well, regularly, probably only about 3.
Only?
But then throughout the year, I end up playing with probably a dozen groups, from choirs to just as a soloist for one piece, let's say, to a bluegrass band perhaps, or whoever will have me, really.
So why the clarinet? How did that come about?
Well, my older brother was playing flute in band, and I thought that's not quite what I want to do, so I tried a few other things, but I didn't want. I don't know, I was drawn to something fairly high, but I tried the bass clarinet and the clarinet, and clarinet worked out sound-wise when I first started, and then once I got into band, then I discovered Benny Goodman, and then it was over.
And you were gone.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
It was over. And how about the guitar with you, Tristan?
Oh, I started when I was in high school, so in the 80s. I played songs from French singers, but also American singers like Cat Stevens, and even Canadian group like bands like Bow Djangos or Harmonium.
Okay.
And then in the 90s, I started playing bass, and I discovered jazz. And one day, at the end of the 90s, I remember it was a couple of people playing guitar in the streets, and they were playing Django's music, and I really loved it.
And how did you meet?
I guess we were both subs for the Bow Djangos.
Who's the Bow Djangos, actually?
Yeah, so an earlier version of the band, and but we didn't meet on the job. But then there was a big changeover in personnel. The band started over, and so some of the subs, including ourselves, were at that first meeting, and things worked out, and now we're part of the band.
So how long has the Bow Djangos with that name existed then? They precede both of you.
Things started in 2003.
Oh, okay. So it has been a while.
Yeah.
And has it been the same styles of music all along?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
The previous band was 4 pieces, and the soloist was a violin. So
Okay, so it's a
in terms of sound,
different sound, I guess.
different,
Yeah. Okay. But I go on your website now, and there's what, 8 of you that play somewhat regularly?
We have a sort of a core of 5 of us, 4 or 5, and then we've got a few people who join us occasionally for certain performances here and there.
It's a band as well as a project. So we like to welcome people. Sometimes we do jams as well instead of rehearsal.
Okay.
And so the music is mainly hot swing and gypsy jazz.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe you could show us.
Yeah.
Sure.
Give us a little
Well, we
excerpt.
can play a piece of the generic.
Yeah, the intro theme. So it's I guess it's basically jazz, a style of jazz that started in France back in the 30s,
Yes,
40s.
it was Django Reinhardt who created his music. He was a gypsy,
Okay.
and he was starting. The first instrument he played, I think, was banjo actually, and he was playing musette, which is a French popular music, and then he came to jazz. He traveled to US. He met great musicians like Duke Ellington, and he
So
mixed
those
arts.
American jazz influences.
Yes, exactly. And he really created this specific music. And also, there is a very important thing is that his hand was burnt in an accident, so he could only use those 2 fingers on the neck, on the board.
Oh, really?
So he had to kind of invent a way of playing to be able to play. And some of the modern musician who plays this style try to do that as well to really catch
Capture the same
Yes. Okay.
sound.
All right.
Shall we try a little bit?
Yeah.
of
Let's
Tristan?
try us a little
Go
bit
ahead.
here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very
All right.
nice. Very
That's
nice.
a great example there.
So is that the hot swing or the gypsy jazz version?
A bit of both, I think.
Bit of both.
They're both there, and all of that. That's a pretty distinct style of playing the guitar, where you're kind of chopping at the
Yes.
chords, and that guitar itself has a tinny sound that complements that
Yes.
style, does it?
It's quite a dry sound. Originally, those formations didn't have any drummer, so it's kind of emulates
yes, a little
the
bit
jazz drum.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's the same same kind of rhythm, and you're playing chords, and the chords but they're not as distinctive as they might be as if they were played on a piano or another style of
the
guitar.
harmony is in the background and the rhythm is in the front, I would say.
Putting that through, yeah. So do you have a huge bicep from
No, it's all in the
it's all in the wrist.
Ah.
And all of that sort of thing. And Cédric, for playing clarinet with that kind of particular style, it's very flowing, I notice, and sometimes you get the impression you're making it up as you go along.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of that goes into it, which makes it a lot of fun. It's heavily borrowed from the jazz traditions of great clarinetists like Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw and Sidney Bechet and all those guys. So it's very free. They'll play the melody, but then they'll embellish a ton, and there are solos that are completely improvised.
And of course, you do more and more of that as the song goes along. I guess
Yes,
after
absolutely.
you've laid down the foundation of the song. I noticed that in a number of your tracks. You kind of lay down the foundation for a whole set of bars for a minute or so, and then you take turns playing with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does that work? Do you tell each other, okay, we're playing for about 5 minutes, or do you give yourselves cues, or how does that work?
We tend to be pretty organized, and we have a sense of the order of the solos, so that we know exactly who's going to take it next, and it flows directly from one solo to the next that way.
Yeah, because you wouldn't both want to start at the same
No,
time.
no, I was
right,
wondering how that worked exactly. So.
Do all of that sort of thing. So now that's a style, it's fairly upbeat style. Do you have other styles that are different than that you play?
As a band? Yeah. Well, we could do an example
A ballade or something?
Yeah, Nuage, for example. Nice little. This was pretty famous, I think, for Django.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
so it's similar in many ways, but then again, different. Yeah. And I'm sure anybody who plays guitar is trying to pick out the chords you're playing is killing themselves because
You can find them on internet.
a lot of special jazz stuff.
Yeah. So where do
tailored to
you
that.
play here in Calgary? And do you go outside the city as well, or are you mainly here?
We tend to do a lot of things around here, but we've done a few festivals, like the Medicine Hat Jazz Festival, or things within Alberta. A lot of things in town, though, as well. A
The
couple.
Twin Butte last golf party.
We've played in Twin Butte. We've played in a little place in the middle of nowhere, sort of, west of Red Deer, I guess.
So wherever you're invited, I take
Absolutely.
it.
But the good thing with this music is that you can play it in very different settings and venues.
Not a lot of equipment. It's highly
easy.
acoustic.
Yes, and easy to listen. So it fits in different.
Well, it
environments.
was very nice to have you guys over, and now people know where our theme song comes from and who plays it. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thanks for having
And
us.
to everyone out there, please stay with us. We continue en français.